Let's begin today's session. Sit comfortably on your mat. Keep the back and neck straight. Very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breathing. Just the natural flow of the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Don't change your breathing. Keep the body aligned. Slowly begin to deepen the breathing. Come back to this moment, your breath being the only reality. We will chant Om one time, followed by the Shanti mantra. Inhale deeply for Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve sandhu nara. Sarve bhadra pashyantu. Kaschit dukhabhavati. Kaschit dukhabhavati. Inhale deeply for Om. Om. Shanti. Shanti. Join the palms together in front of the chest and rub them together. Keep them on the eyes. Very slowly while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes, start opening up the smile. Namaste to everyone. So let's begin today's session. Great. So yesterday we talked about Karma Yoga and how action is on all the levels. It's taking place continuously, and how we can gain perfection in that action. How we can make each and every action better. Right? We can work on each and every action with each passing day. Right? And first only begin with physical action. Right? And then slowly you will go deeper, and it will enhance your life, the way in which you do a particular thing, right? So today we are talking about the second school of yoga, right? Bhakti yoga. Bhakti. Right, this is also another school of yoga, and over here it's the, you can say, path of devotion. And this term, bhakti, is derived from the root word bhaj, uh, which means, loving service. Seva dena. And when we say the word seva, right, seva is service in Hindi, right? So there is this, immediate love and respect that you feel when you say that you are going to go and serve someone. When you say you're going to serve someone, there is always a sense of love that you have, right? Whoever you choose or decide to serve, there is this internally, there is this generation of this emotion where you are devoted, and you're just like not thinking, you are feeling, more in the feeling aspect, not in the thinking aspect that much. And that is what Bhakti Yoga actually very concisely put is, where, today's generation, we are very analytical, very, we want to know everything. We are overloaded with information. So every time, somebody brings something up, you're just like, okay, you're going to check the sources. Is this the right thing, or is this not the right thing? So we are still, way much in our head, right? Struggling, debating, right? So these are all, activities of the mind. But when it comes to Bhakti Yoga, the mind is completely suspended, and emotion is generated. So if you feel you are a very emotional person by nature, Bhakti Yoga is going to uh, be a very good path for you, right, overall. Because, when you are a very emotional person, a lot of people come and say that, you're getting upset about this, it's not that big a deal. And, sometimes you get angry very quickly. Sometimes when when you are showing your love, you show it very deeply, right? So everybody is just like, this person has gone crazy, right? Too much reaction is taking place, right? So those emotions are not actually your weakness, they can become your strength if you learn how to channelize them, right? So having emotions is not wrong, but the constant reaction we have to the emotions, they can either, leave us in a very bad state of mind, or they can enhance our state of mind, right? It depends on how we are viewing something and navigating through it. And Bhakti Yoga is all about the management of the emotions, right? How through your how your emotions become a strength, and through your emotions you can work towards getting free from all of your misery, right? So emotions can also help you to become free from all of your misery. And if you are very emotional, it will sound quite unfamiliar to you at first, but eventually you will see, if you direct those emotions in the path of devotion, you will see you are able to um, now you are able to attain that stability. Now there is the level of chaos is less, right? So that is exactly what the bhakti does. So when we talk of bhakti yoga, uh, the emotion of love really comes, right? When you really love something, you do anything, right? If you fall in love, if you have fallen in love ever, you will do everything. Your mind will stop working, your heart is functioning at a very high rate, right? It's You are connected to your heart and mind is totally gone. So when you fall in love with someone, right, all of the people around you will disapprove. They will say that you are mad, you are crazy, you have fallen in, you have chosen this person, you have done so well in your life, you are aiming for such good things, right? And then you fall in love with an idiot, right? And all of us, we generally, see that everybody falls in love with an idiot, right? Nobody in their family approves, nobody in their friend circle approves, but they have fallen in love, right? And then you will try to make that person understand 10 different ways that this is not right for you. But logic doesn't appeal to someone who is in love, right? So it's something like that. It's the same thing over here when I talk of falling in love, it's more of for your own experience and for our own, you know, uh, that kind of love, it ends up binding us because, you know, if things don't work out, then we feel very, very hurt and dejected. But if when we talk of bhakti yoga, that same love, you're falling in love with the God that you have chosen, right? So in bhakti yoga, the relevance of a God is very, very high. So you choose a God, you choose some particular God, and you decide to devote yourself to that God. So especially in Indian tradition, you will see we have our own gods and goddesses. There is so much variety out there, right? Especially in Hinduism, there is a lot of variety. Even in other, depending on where you live, you will have particular gods, right? Where you, you go and visit the temple and worship them. In hilly regions, they have the concept of devta and devi, right? So over there also, each and every house has their own like belief and the god they believe in, and they worship that god, they devote themselves to that god. And when the festivals also come up, they go into a lot of worship of gods. So right now for India, we are having festivals back to back, and we are, this is the time when Indian people are very, very active because a lot of major festivals come around this time, right? Be it any religion, there are festivals during this time, right? So everybody is in a mode of celebration, and more than celebration, in a mode of devotion. So at this point of time, if you see, we are cleaning everything around us, we are preparing the space to worship the god, we are visiting temples that we are connected to, right? And all of this shows some form of bhakti. You cannot do anything without devotion, right? Even if you do not choose the path of bhakti yoga, it's very important to understand you cannot do anything without devotion, right? Like I told you that day also, if you believe in something, that is when it will start working for you. If you don't, then it might work for you, but not to the extent that it can, right? And that is where the devotion part comes in. When you believe and devote yourself to some action or something, right? You will see that it starts working for you more and more, right? And if you do not believe in that thing, it probably won't give you those many results, right? So it's all about devotion. Whatever you are doing, if you are doing it with an act of devotion, you will see that the result is manifold, right? So now devotion doesn't mean that you are getting attached to the thing. So this is a very fine line between, there is a very fine line between both these things. When you devote yourself, so I will answer this also, who can you devote yourself to? But when you devote yourself, you are completely letting go of all the control that you have, right? That is why it is so scary, right? You have to let go of all levels of control, right? There is a emotion, there is an emotion of surrender over there, right? And when there is this surrender, emotion of surrender that comes in, that is when you will see that things are actually uh, uh, happening for you, right? But you don't get attached to them because your whole energy is directed towards your devotion. Now you are changing your, earlier say your aim was um, gaining something out of a situation or out of a thing, right? So now when you devote yourself, you are changing that entirely, right? Now you're not after the thing that you are aiming. Now you have chosen something that is above these dualities, above attaining something or something being taken away. You are just going into complete surrender. If it is given to me, that's okay. If it's taken away from me, that's okay, right? So that is the level that the devotee goes to, where all the actions are surrendered, right? And they see themselves as uh, uh, you know, um, as a mode for uh, the God that they believe in, right? So they, whatever they do, they are just a mode for that God to propagate or go into that action, right? So if suppose in devotion, they go in service, right? When they do service, they're not doing service for themselves or for the other person. In fact, even they are doing that service because they feel that it's God working through them, right? And this is supposed to be done, right? So they are not getting attached to the action or the result. So see, very important thing, karma, like I said yesterday also, this same quality is there, the uh, detachment, right? Where they are not doing it for themselves, right? So bhakta also is in that frame of mind, right? Where they're not doing the thing for themselves. They're understanding that they are a medium, right? To deliver that thing, to do that thing. And all of their actions are devoted to something much higher than them. So in Bhakti Yoga, there is this concept of personal God. Right? So like I told you, there are so many gods out there. I'm not talking of religion, I'm just talking of particular gods that are there, and you can choose from them, right? So best thing is you can choose. How do you choose? You choose a god. First thing is when you like choose to devote yourself to something. So you choose some person or some god whose qualities you really admire. Okay, so suppose um, if I choose to devote myself to Lord Ram, okay, so I will see his, it's because you don't choose because your family, it's propagated in the family, because it's all about emotion at the end of the day. It's not about the, it is about the God you're choosing, but not so much weight, right? It's about the emotion you are able to generate towards that God. right? So suppose I choose Lord Ram, okay? So the thing that should be in my mind is I adore the qualities of Lord Ram, right? So he was a very, virtuous king, right? And he was a very virtuous son, and he had a great sense of sacrifice where he left his kingdom, right? So he did not have that greed that I want to rule the kingdom. He left his kingdom and he went into exile. So these qualities, his patience, his caring attitude, these are the things when you hear the stories, mythological stories, you feel connected to a particular god because of what their story is, right? Or the virtues that they are showing, right? So you choose the virtues, and that is how you reach to the selection of the god, right? So the god that you choose, generally, they are free from any flaws, right? So they are free of flaws, and they are also free from this life and death circle, right? It's another thing that they choose to reincarnate and come over here and help mankind, but they are free of impurities and they are free from the cycle of birth and death. So they are free from this. So whenever you choose, whenever you're looking for a god that you want to devote yourself to, you can go ahead and check these few boxes and choose accordingly, right? So that is very important part of bhakti yoga, that you choose a personal god. And the personal god that you choose, they're based on the choices based on these qualities, right? And then you go into complete surrender, right? So like in Indian tradition, you will see a lot that we, especially in a few families, still it still goes on where they have the idol of the god at their home, and when they wake up, first thing they when they wake up, as their routine goes, they understand that the god also has a routine, so they bathe the murti, right, the sculpture, and they change their clothes, they make them, like they offer them food, right? So the entire routine goes on like this, and it is still practiced in a lot of homes in India, right? Where the level of devotion is so high that they do not even, you know, care that it is not the thing they are worshipping. In normal human terms, it is not alive, right? And that is why, when people go into bhakti yoga, some others who do not understand bhakti yoga, they might even think you are going crazy, right? But it is not that. It's your vision towards that thing that gives it life. If you constantly believe that something is, like I was telling you that day also, mind has a lot of power, right? So if I constantly keep believing that this sculpture is real, 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 to me, after a while, I will see that it has become real, right? So Bhakta also uh, really believes that that entity, it is real, right? It's just that the idol is representing that entity or that god for them, right? So we'll see very deep practices that go on in India, especially, right? We have various forms of bhakti yoga, ranging from kirtans to bhajans to like going to the temple, to all sorts of rituals that we do. Depending on the timing, depending on the season, we have our own rituals, and we'll see a lot of people are on the path of devotion by default, basically, because from generation to generation this is passed on. So a lot of mantras, they were already chanted in my house, so I knew that okay, this is this from very early age. All these chantings, our mothers, they and even fathers. I'm not saying it's just a female thing, but mostly you will see moms, they are like, taking out this time during the day where they chant the mantras and go to the we in India we create a small space in our house, we call it mandir, right? And we just pray to God over there, right? So um, at least that is how I grew up. There must be other ways also, but in my house there is this space where we light up candles and incense sticks, and we chant mantras, right? And we take out some time in our day to pray, or we used to. At least now I'm not at home, but uh, at home we did take out some time, right, to do these things, and it created a very positive energy. It wasn't just about do we believe in it or not. It's more about the positivity that is created out of something you do. So the emotion is very, very central when it comes to bhakti yoga. Nor does the bhakt believe that whatever they are doing for themselves. They have this understanding that they are doing it as an act of devotion, right? And the there is detachment from the worldly things and attachment to the God, right? So attachment over here, when this word comes up, it is only to the entity that you are choosing to devote yourself, right? You are falling in love with the God that you choose. So you can see the God as your maybe if you're a mother, you can see the God as your son. If you are like um, still studying, you can see that God as a guiding figure, like your parents, right? So falling in love doesn't mean that it always has a romantic touch to it. Love exists in a lot of form in our life. We get love from here and there in little ways, right? So, however you feel that you can establish that bond, right? So, one thing, you choose the God according to your own understanding, and then you even establish the bond with the God according to your own understanding. But simply put, it's just an act of surrender, right? And it is very hard for us to surrender these days, right? We want to know everything, we want to control everything. So, Bhakti Yoga helps you to surrender, to see that something is driving everything around you. And it's always good to be very active and contribute, but even if you just allow things to be, you will see that they will happen in the same way. One thing is, I can constantly react to everything that is happening around me, and it's going to happen anyway. Right? Other thing is, I'm choosing to relax my state of mind and my own being. And any which way things are going to happen that way. Right? So both these approaches are very, very different. Right? And Bhakti Yoga asks you to look into the one in which you will be relaxed and you will allow. So it gives you a lot of acceptance, and it allows for things to happen because your entire attention is towards your devotion, right? So everything that is happening around you, it's going to happen any which. But rather than putting the mind in a reactive state, you chose to direct that energy in a devotional state, right? So when we look at Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga has been elaborately discussed in chapter 12. When you open Bhagavad Gita, like I told you, all schools of yoga have been mentioned. It's chapter 12 that you are looking for. So in chapter 12, Lord Krishna. So I told you there are 18 chapters. So by the 12th chapter, Krishna ji has already explained in a lot of ways why Arjun needs to fight, right? But Arjun is still unable to, still in that deep conflict that he cannot go for the war. So at that point of time, Krishna ji, he comes in and he says that you don't think of anything. What you do is you devote yourself to me. Okay, so he tells Arjun directly that do not go into too much analysis. Devote yourself to me, yeah, and trust that all of the actions that you are doing, they are as a way of devoting yourself to me, right? I'm asking you to do these actions, okay? You don't have to take this guilt, but devote yourself and go do this action, right? And in the 12th chapter, he says that apart from all the kinds of types of yoga, he prefers bhakta most, right? He loves the bhakt because the bhakt doesn't analyze, the bhakt doesn't do anything. The bhakt just chooses to surrender, and he says this is the highest form. In his view, this is the highest form of yoga. And you will see no matter what type of yoga you do, you will see a sense of surrender begins to increase as you go into the practice. And that is why we feel so relieved when we come into the practice of yoga, because there is something within us which is stopping us from going into that sense of surrender, right? And then we start practicing yoga in some form or the other, and devotion very subtly blends itself into the entire process that we are going through, right? So, and when you read Bhagavad Gita, you will find two types of bhaktis. Sorry, two types of bhaktis. Apara bhakti and para bhakti. These are the two types of bhaktis that are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita when you read it. Right? So now suppose your emotions are very strong, right? You know that bhakti yoga is the path, right? So up till a certain point, you will go about things in a very uh, mechanical manner, I would say, or in the form of rituals, you can say. So, you would have seen elders in your house. They are, doing chanting mantras. Then they are going lighting incense sticks. Then again and again, they're having this routine, right, of doing the things because they are still working on their devotion. So sometimes, it happens that the devotion comes very easily to you and you are directly able to surrender. Right. So right now, if I tell you that directly surrender, most of us cannot. Most of us won't be able. We will gain that sense of control. We'll come in that state of sense of control again and again and again. Right. So when you talk of bhakti yoga, right? So initial level, you will have to work with some set practices because you are not ready to completely surrender, right? Yeah. So apara bhakti is that form, the lower form of bhakti, Krishnaji says, where you are going more into mechanical ritualistic practices, doing bhajans, doing kirtans, going and praying every day, reading about the God that you have chosen, gaining more knowledge about their life, seeing their qualities, becoming more aware. So going for satsangs, just in a way to understand the God that you've chosen, their life, right? So then this apara bhakti, you do it for years and years, right? So you will see a lot of people do apara bhakti and not for a short period of time. They do it for years and years in order to work on developing their emotion, right? To prepare themselves to completely surrender. Right now also they are surrendering. Right now also if you begin, you will surrender for that point of time when you are doing those practices, but not as deep, right? So for a beginner, it's very important to go into these uh, day-to-day things where they can incorporate bhakti yoga in their life, right? And when they deeply practice parabhakti, they naturally come in the state of parabhakti, which is higher form of bhakti, right? So till now, suppose you were doing mantras, you were waking up every day, going to the temple, doing everything that you thought you can fit into your routine, right? And then there will come a time when you will see that the God that you are worshipping, you will be able to see the essence of that energy, and the essence of that energy lies in everyone around you and everything around you. That basic essence, the essential qualities and the essential energy, it is present all around you, right? And it is within. So you don't just go into paravakti like that. You will take your time to go into paravakti. Okay, and paravakti cannot be forced, like meditation cannot be forced, right? You come in a meditative state of mind by consistently working on your dharana, right? Or concentration. The more effort you put, like the more time you do dharana again and again, eventually we'll see you reach the point of meditation, right? So apara bhakti, do it for a long period of time with full devotion, right? And then you will reach the para bhakti naturally, because it is the next level, right? So like we play a video game, so from level 1 to level 2. So parabhakti is like that. It cannot be forced. Even if I tell you that essentially that same energy is present within you and within me and everything around you, it's just going till your mind. Yeah. The day it comes on your experience, that is what parabhakti is. Right? It's nothing else but experientially reaching that stage where you see that everything is essentially governed by the same energy, right? So it doesn't remain a mental concept anymore. It You see it happen, right? One thing is, I tell you that we have this Indian sweet called kheer, right? So it's made out of rice and milk and dry fruits, right? All of these things. So I keep telling you, okay, this is kheer, it's white in color, it has rice, it has this, we also had dry fruits, this. And I tell you that it has such a sweet flavor, and then you just say, what is sweet? Or what is the taste of kheer? You don't know. You haven't tasted it. Right? And I keep describing. I can describe all I want. You will never be able to catch the taste of that kheer, right? Unless and until you taste it on your own. Once you taste it on your own, you will know what kheer is, and you will never mistake it for any other sweet dish. Right? You will know the exact taste of that sweet. And this is what parabhakti is. When until now, like before parabhakti, everybody is I am describing it to you, everybody is describing that state to you, right? It's like a cooking manual, right? Everybody is giving you the instructions, do this, follow this, and then you'll reach here, then there, right? So it's like instruction manual. All the details can be very well captured, but they will never give you the experience of the taste of that thing. It's only when you taste it that you know what is exactly, how you're going to feel. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Right? So parabhakti is like that. When you pick up that spoon and take a bite and you actually get the taste of kheer, right? And you know that kheer is sweet. Now, if somebody tells you kheer is salty, kheer is sour in taste, you will be like, no, will have that recognition, right? So parabhakti naturally comes in, right, as a part of continuous practice of the parabhakti, right? So there are a lot of types of bhakts also. So if you choose to go on the path of bhakti, you will find this like mentioned, right? So para and apara I will just spell. So apara is APARA. This is lower form, and para is PARA, higher form. There are four types of bhakts also, right? So first one is arth, then artharthi, then jigyasu, and then jnani. These are the four types. Arth is A-R-T-H. Artharthi, A-R-T-H-A-R-T-I. Jigyasu, J-I-J-N-A-S-U. And Jnani, J-N-A-N-I. Yeah. These are your four types of bhakts, and let's just look at how they are, why are they categorized like this. So till the time you reach Jnani, your level of bhakti has increased a lot, and these are just advanced levels of each other, right? So if you go to Arth, right, Arth is the bhakt who comes into bhakti yoga out of suffering. So suffering is the main thing which brings them to bhakti yoga. So you will see, somebody who is struggling with their day-to-day things, or even struggling with survival to that extent, you are currently struggling even with things that you need to survive, right? So you are struggling with that survival, and as a part of that, you go and you pray to God that, may this be solved in your life, or uh, you hope that you don't face this difficulty or that difficulty, but more in a survival manner, right? Where you are still struggling with the day-to-day things. Like suppose you get some disease, right? So your survival is immediately threatened. So when people give up on all other things, they go and they sit in the church, they sit in the temple, and they pray, right? When everybody has given up, when all hope is lost, you will see people go and pray. And we have all been there, we have prayed for people that we really love, right? So we come at that point of time, we come in the art category, where we are praying out of our own suffering because we want to be free from that suffering. So we pray that may we have more wealth, may we have more health, right? May this disease get cured, right? So we are see the uh, motivation and the intention behind the art, right? To be free from the suffering that they are facing, right? Then you come to more advanced level, that is artharthi, right? So this kind of bhakti, you will also find a lot of people who go and they pray for wealth, right? So now their basic necessities are being fulfilled. They are not struggling with any disease, or basically health, wealth is even wealth is there, right? But health is completely established, no need of getting that survival scare. So now the person goes to the temple and asks for more wealth, right? They say that we want more wealth. So sometimes we go and we pray for that job or that opportunity, right? That we are so nervous about, but it will give us huge financial gains, right? So now we come in that category where we have everything we need to survive, but we are aiming for more. We want more material wealth, right? We want to acquire more material things, yeah. And as a prayer, right? We go to God, we pray to God that may we get this thing or that thing, or this job or that job, so that we are able to increase our financial status, right? So sometimes we go and just say we'll offer you this much, the prasad, we say the offering that you make to God, so prasad for these many rupees, if we get this thing. So that is completely arthati attitude, right? Where now we are going towards We want to increase the physical material wealth, right? Then comes the third one, which is jigyasu, right? So jigyasu is then one level up from the arthartik, right? So jigyasu, what does the jigyasu do? Jigyasu is very, very curious. Jigyasa in Hindi, when we use the word jigyasa, it's curiosity, right? So jigyasu, that person is very, very curious. That person, now that everything is being fulfilled, that person has the capability to think higher, right? So earlier, if disease and wealth is not there, big issue, right? There is a big issue, you are still struggling for survival. Then there comes a point where now you want more material comfort. So again, your mind is still stuck in your in the reality that you can see. But when you come to jigyasu stage, you will see that they are able to think beyond these things, right? Everything, maybe they have everything, but they are able to think beyond this, and they see that there is some level of void that is existing, right? Like in Hindi we say khalipan, right? So we feel that void, right? In our life. And now even though society teaches us, right, that study well, you will get this, then you will get the right job, then you will, get a place to stay for yourself, then you will get this car, or all of these standards the society has set for us. But despite achieving those things, you will realize there is still some void inside of you. And the Jigyasu is very much aware of the existence of this void, and hence wants to work, that hence wants to find an answer. How do I come out of this? How do I get out of this? This is too much, right? And there has to be something more than this material world. They have this awareness that there is something more than the material world that is there. And that is when they start exploring and getting into spiritual practices. That is when the mind becomes ready, that they want to uh, go into such practices which are beyond what they perceive, because there is something beyond what they perceive which is causing them a lot of suffering. So the way out would be doing something which is not that easily perceived, right? So then they go on this journey, right? And last one is the Jnani. So Jnani is highest level, okay? So Jigyasu devotes out of level of curiosity and because they are unable to find the way out, right? Jnani has already devoted and knows that the reality. So they come in the parabhakti side, where they inherently know that everything is the same energy. You are that same energy. Everything is governed by that same energy, and they are going deeper into their devotion and working day by day with this sense of realization that you are not separate from everything else. Like we think, we are individuals and we have our own rights, we have this, I am an individual. So yes, we are individuals, but we are part of a much larger system, and we do not realize this thing. We are a part of nature, right? And nature makes no discrimination, right? You will see that however nature is going to treat one person, they are going to treat the other one also. There is no uh, uh, bias when it comes to nature. Like very common example of COVID only. So nobody got saved from COVID, from the president of US till anybody who was sitting in India. All of us got impacted, right? So if COVID, like that virus, like spreads, that virus doesn't make a distinction, right? That this is a rich person, this is a poor person. I shouldn't attack this person, or I should, harm this person more or less, right? Nature, you will see, will never make that distinction, right? And that is what the Jnani experientially, not like that, experientially realizes. And when they realize this thing, they start working more and more because now they want to be free from this repetition. So when you take births again and again, you are in a way repeating everything, right? So again, you will take one birth, full life, all the stages are going to come, right? Again, then other births. So they want to get free from this continuous cycle that is going on, right? So they devote themselves completely to the God that they believe in and keep working on their practices in order to be free from all the sufferings, right? So, any doubts so far? Did you catch all the names and all the information detailing? Huh? Bhakti Yoga is all about this only. Yeah.
So
Today,
Arthati was about the praying for like wealth and health.
wealth, not health, wealth.
Wealth. Health was the earth one, first one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So yeah, Bhakti Yoga is all about emotion, and if you feel very emotionally connected to everything around you, then it's a great path for you to explore and look into, right? Because your emotions are your strength, right? So if there are no doubts, I'll end today's session. I'll close the class. So your Ayurveda and meditation classes are off for today. Yeah, so I posted it on the group also, but just in case you guys missed, no Ayurveda and meditation class for today. Yeah, so you have break, you can relax, just work on all the other things that are there, right? So let's close today's session then. All right. So keep the back neck straight, gently close your eyes. You chant Om one time, followed by three Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Join the palms together. Let's just start on feeling gratitude for everything we have. Wrap the palms together. Keep them on the eyes. Very slowly while blinking and looking at the palms, come back to the smile. Om Shanti. I will see you all for the pranayam class. Take care and bye-bye.
Om Shanti.